responsibilities, like MPs doing all the laws, doing all the renovations in the house, doing all of the meetings, the paperwork. It just seems too draining. I mean,
You can just change the wallpaper.
I don't want to change the wallpaper. That just makes things more complicated. I have to type more, and I'm saying even more papers, even more agreements, even more peace treaties. I'd have to help even more in wars. I'd have to account more for the economics, and then I'd have to do a lot more stuff, and that's just way more work than just doing the first normal option.
So, run for Prime Minister?
I mean, run for Prime Minister, I've had nothing else to do in my life. All the Prime Minister does is just be the representative of the Parliament, like of the party. That's and just keeping in check. So think of the Prime Minister as the leader of the group, right? They split them into different things. So let's say, for example, we have the Chancellor of the Exchequer and all of those other MPs. They're just making sure that they're doing everything correctly, that they're filling out on their promises, that they're being convincing, persuasive, and having a lot of cohesion. And then after that, not only that, you'd have to represent, you'd have to really force yourself out there, really force your appearance, get lots of like makeup and stuff. And after that, you'd have to make sure that your voice is good, make sure like you have to fix stuff like in case so you don't get sick. And then after that, you'd have to go around for the rest of your life with just people always surrounding you, paparazzi, and you wouldn't even be able to like have a normal life because now you're the prime minister. Like more people know the faces of the prime minister than anyone else in the party currently. So like just like with Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak, can you name like the Chancellor of Exchequer in both of those parties? You won't be able to. Exactly, you won't be able to because the Prime Minister is the head, the representator, the basically mentored, just like the checker upper, the inspector of the parties. So he basically, reps the title, he's the party leader, everyone knows him, everyone respects him, everyone knows he lives at 10 Downing Street, all of that. So it's like, that's too much effort. I don't want to have to learn all those languages, learn all these new words, learn all about the new paperwork, these agreements, all of this famous stuff. I walk anywhere, I can't even go into, like, let's say Asda, because, well, everyone's going to be like, is that the Prime Minister? Like, you won't even be able to go back to your normal life, even after you're, like, no longer running, or you are in the Parliament, because everyone just knows you. Like you're automatically become really famous. Like you're basically the head honcho after the king or queen. Like you're the big boss because now you make the laws, you run the laws, you represent the laws, you embody the laws. You just have so much responsibilities because if you did something bad, then your whole country will know about it, other countries will know about it, and everyone will know you for what you did. Just like how you have the ULED, everyone knows, basically everyone knows Rishi Sunak for the ULEDs, and how most people don't like that. So that's the main reason, because if you do stuff that the people don't like, they're going to be real quick to just impeach you, get you out of there. And it's just so much tough and hard work that I don't even think the genuine smiles that the MPs do are even genuine. It's just what they have to do. Like it just comes to them on instinct, just to make themselves look good. They keep up their appearances because we know in their mind they're thinking about all the paperwork, all the meetings, their food diet, so they can keep their body shape. They just have to do so much stuff. Like it's like a 3-digit number of tasks you have to do like every day, let alone every week. So running for Prime Minister, I have to assemble a group of people that know what they're doing, that have an expertise in their fields and can run their parts. Just it's too much work. It's like you trying to assemble the Avengers. It's going to take quite a while. You're going to have to figure out the superpowers, their pros, their cons, and after that, you have to make a decision on who you want. And you have to make sure they can keep up a public appearance as well. Just like how we know that let's say Tony Stark, everyone knows him as the Iron Man, right? Without the Iron Man, he'd just be Tony Stark, the smart man. Well, alone, he is quite smart, like he's a mathematician and stuff. But when he puts the Iron Man suit on, that's let's compare that to when he wins the election. He's now like a part of the parliament. Now everyone knows him as that. He's famous, and whenever anyone sees him, they're glad to see him there because they feel honoured. Now, if he didn't have that suit on, or let's say you weren't running for parliament, then they wouldn't feel the same amount of respect and honour being next to you as they would if you had your suit or in the parliament. So you also get a lot of business deals, you get a lot of people trying to hustle you. You also just have to make hard decisions. Sometimes you have to cut off people. You have to fund some mini wars. You will have to decide if you want to step in, step out, or intervene. You basically just think of it as becoming a part of, like, becoming a landmark on the earth. Like, you're now this one big thing that everyone just has to know about, has to listen to, and even so, you still have to follow all the laws yourself. Because as we know, when Boris Johnson was caught in COVID having a party, everyone was so quick to impeach him that they didn't even consider what he brought to the table, which is also why you have to keep up your social appearances. It's all like the Kardashians. They keep their appearances up all day, all night, appealing to their families, appealing to the general, and their generic appearances are just a stark contrast from their real appearances. Because we know some Kardashians have completely different hairs than they did as a child. It's like some of their hair used to be black then, and now they're like blonde. It's just it's way too much work. The work you do is just so much stuff that just happened all at once. Like one moment you're signing a contract with, let's say, NATO, right? And then the next moment you're having to fund Ukraine in the war. And even then you have to decide who do we support? Do we support Ukraine? Do we support Russia? Or do we just support no one at all and don't get involved? Even then, if you do support someone and they end up losing, you'll get a bad reputation. But meanwhile, if you support someone and they win, not only are you going to also have to cut ties with the losing country, but you're also going to have like a gain. So it's kind of like a 50-50 coin flip. Because we know that in some wars, sometimes the minority wins over the majority, but even then it's like a coin flip, it's 50-50. Heads, we win the war and we all celebrate, or tails, we lose the war, we're enemies with the bigger side, and now we're going to have to work on either trying to gain their trust back or somehow incorporating them into us. Like maybe having to like make our second most spoken language in this country their language just so we can help remain our ties together. So it's it's so much work when you think about it. Like if we put it all together, that's about I'd say just too many stuff to even remember. Your planner, your calendar would have to be this big. This big by let's say this wide. It's like basically the inch of a flat screen TV. That's a lot of stuff you have to remember. I just think, the first thing you thought, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. When you actually come to like realization, it's like, oh, so much work. Just like how when you first start high school, let's say, after primary school, you're like, oh, this is gonna be so easy. It's gonna be a piece of cake like my primary school. But then you're like, I have to remember where I have to go. I have to remember this is where I have to go, like for lunch and break. It's just, it's like a big change within like a few hours. Even then, that still might not be enough to help you cope. So, yeah, that's just, I guess you could say, Montana's way of doing stuff.